wet markets, that's how we do. But this time, something just escaped, and I just wanted to. Just thought you ought to know. Oops, my bad. I swear I never meant for this. I never meant. Don't look at me that way. It was a Chinese mistake. Don't look at me that way. It was a Chinese mistake. Honest mistake. Sometimes when I'm in the lab, pathogens get away. Chinese flu. I swear I never meant for this. I never meant. Don't look at me that way. It was a Chinese mistake. Don't look at me that way. It was a Chinese mistake. Honest mistake. Don't look at me that way. It was a Chinese mistake. Don't look at me that way. It was a Chinese mistake. Chinese mistake.
.com. Thank you, Johnny Boy. Everything's going to taste like rubber for 2 months.
A little hot.
A little bit hot.
Blisters.
A little bit hot. Coming in hot, by the way. We have a lot to get to today. Just an absolute ton to get to. And it's tough to keep track sometimes of the gain of function and, you know, Fauci, or as he's commonly referred to, the science. With gain of function. So there is something new that has come out that is even more damning. And I know it's kind of like Russiagate. You know, people sometimes they go, oh, what happened? And I feel like this has been going on for a long time. No, there's new information that is as damning as any that has come out. We'll talk about that. Also, voting. I don't know if you know this, but if former Vice President Joe Biden has his way, and President Harris, his words, not mine, that all references will be available not only at loudearthcrowder.com, in this show on video.
Well,
so believe your lying eyes and ears. And scent, if you're sense of smell, if you're near former Vice President Joe Biden. It's the shoes. So He actually wants to make sure that not only do we not have the filibuster, but that you never need ID to vote again.
Oh, well, that's convenient.
Yeah. So I say, look, I actually agree with that. If you don't need ID to purchase a firearm,
Okay.
a 6-pack,
Drive a car.
right?
Check out a library book.
Right. Or rent a Kamala by the hour.
By the hour.
You don't need ID for that.
You don't need ID. You don't need ID. You just need
that
some
now.
mayoral position.
Yeah. That's it.
You just need to be in charge of the next rung.
That was the
Climate.
meeting. People were like, I really got behind this Kamala. What do you think? What do you think she's into? Power. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get some of that. And she's like a pop-out book with
She's
her legs.
a real power bottom.
Yes. Yeah, and by that, because because she polls at the bottom.
Yes, that's
The
what I
bottom
meant by
of the
that.
polls in the Democratic primary.
She tugs at
No one was less popular. Literally, they had a stage of everybody. Think about that. There was Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
There was Swalwell. There was Hickenlooper.
That's right.
And then still, Kamala Harris had to pull back, had to jerk the curtain and peer her ugly face and remember me?
Yeah. Don't forget Beto and Booker were still alive at
Yeah.
that point.
They're
And she was
going
polling below them.
insane.
Yeah. She was hiding behind Beto's quarter pipe.
They're going crazy, and I'm reaping all the benefits.
I am reaping all the benefits, losing his mind. Okay, so few things. So let me ask you this. Comment of the day. This is the best thing you can do when we're back on YouTube. By the way, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern, okay? If you don't see us on YouTube and we don't tell you why we're not here, then that just means we're on Rumble. We're on Mug Club. So go watch it over there, okay? Hold on. Hey, Gerald, hold on. I need you to go to Gerald for a second.
What,
Go to Gerald
for?
because I don't
Oh, okay.
Gross.
I had something in my mouth that I had to get rid of.
Camera was on
And a
you.
mint. Okay.
Why would you do that to me?
Have you ever, this is what I want you to comment, have you ever seen a sitting former vice president refer to American citizens as domestic enemies? And we're going to get to that in a second, because remember when people got really mad that Donald Trump was saying that the liberal media is the enemy of the people?
Right, yeah.
You know, at first it was actually a Stalin quote that they misquoted to him, and then he kind of said it. But
Oops.
I don't disagree. I mean, for crying out loud, Brian Williams, I mean, if he's not the enemy of the American people, then you can't have enemies.
Right.
With friends like him, who needs journalists? So
Don't have any.
that's my question for you. And of course, there's the promo code. It's LWC Returns, $20 off. Mug Club will be doing another 45 minutes here today and a full show this Friday where we review Don't Look Up.
Do we have to?
Spoiler alert. It's crap.
What happens if we do look?
So before we move into all of these topics and more, Gerald A. is here. How are you?
I am well, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. You know, I don't have any of the symptoms from the Omnicorp virus.
The only thing I have left is just being tired.
Yeah.
About it.
Right.
Not super run down, like less than a cold.
Yeah, well, you're tired. That's the excuse his wife has been using for months.
We got our second kid on the way.
She has
Got a headache?
she has Omicron
research.
10 months out of the year. You got any of that Midol for that Omicron? So
Not when I'm over.
no.
Whoa! Hey! Jeez!
What?
Built Bar flying at your head in a moment.
Why?
Well, I think Get Roman's going to become a sponsor soon enough. So
that's gonna be fun.
everybody. This has nothing to do with your wife, by the way. I'm sorry, Mrs. Morgan. We did not mean anything. Dave, apologize to Gerald before.
I'm sorry,
Whoa!
Gerald.
Whoa! No, you apologize to my wife.
I'm
I wasn't-
sorry,
I don't have
Mrs.
nothing
Gerald.
to apologize for. I was implying that she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to have intimate relations with you, which is reasonable. He was implying that he was having intimate relations with her, like she was some kind of Kamala wannabe.
I wasn't implying. I was telling him about it.
Well,
Just insulted me again in your explanation.
I did do that. I did do that.
I was kidding. She likes him tall.
Yes, she does. She likes.
That's why I wear stilts.
Just when you think Dave's going to apologize.
By the way,
I
one time
apologize to Mrs. Morgan.
there was a Santa on stilts. I don't know if this. Sorry, guys. You know what? If you're okay that we went off the rails this quickly, we're going to get to the meat. Smash the like button because this is a true story. There was a Santa at they do that tree lighting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There was a Santa on stilts, and these were high stilts. And I walked right up to him. At this point, I was
Supposed to low stilts?
Right. Yes.
Well, yeah.
There are degrees of stilt.
That's true. I don't want to.
This required talent,
So
right?
I walked right up to him. My dad was in tears because I had been training Muay Thai at this point, and I walked right up to him, looked at him, and I turned my hips over like I was going to leg kick his stilt right out from under him, and he went, and then he almost fell, but just from the deke. I'm a child. Do you have any idea how violent that would be?
Was
a
this
Santa 9 feet up on stilts if
Yeah.
you just swept the legs?
I think most people who do stilts for a living do die in a fake-out stilt kick accident.
Right, yes. Like the guy who created the Segway who died segwaying off a
Is
cliff.
that not the best? He's like, I just lost control. It was going 3 miles an hour. It's like I could just jump off.
Well, he tried to jump off and it followed him. He's like,
Oh, no.
Oh, this is going to hurt.
At least he looked cool doing it.
He did like kickflip. Ha
He got his pants tucked into his sock, a clip-on tie. He's like, safety first. Oh, no, what's that, an Acme cliff?
Good thing I have a helmet.
Someone hits a button and an anvil falls on him. So, also, I guess I should introduce him here now. He's going to be at the Civic Auditorium in Redding, California, January 15th, January 16th at the Crest Theater in San Francisco. Dave Landau, how are you, sir?
Ahoy.
Good?
I'm good. I can't complain. I'm living. Heart's beating.
All right.
So far.
I don't.
That's about all you can answer.
Fine.
So, before I move on, according to this random lady, we want to watch this. You have to wear masks while eating now.
What you want? You want to ask me where my mask was? Why? You don't see it on his wrist? But how the am I eat with a mask on? How am I eat? You want me to eat? How we supposed to eat? This woman gonna come over here and ask me why I ain't got my mask right here. She gonna ask me why I ain't got no mask on. I'm trying to eat my goddamn food. Now how the I'm gonna eat my goddamn food with no mask on? This woman right here gonna ask
Full sass.
where our mask at. She ain't come over here and say, hey, how you doing? What you doing? How you been? Cuz, what's up? Farmers Market, how you been? Susan Q right here wanna come over here and embarrass herself.
It's a
And
white
we ain't
slur.
did nothing to her. Over a damn mask. How we gonna eat? Y'all eating the same damn way? How you
She
gonna
thought
eat?
she had a hood pass with her
Ain't
one
eating
Tito
with no
glove.
mask
Yeah,
on,
her Michael
Susan.
Jackson.
Now, Susan,
They're at a
on the news
casino,
channel
right?
now, honey, 'cause you
Yeah.
you f***ed up.
The healthiest
At this point,
places
don't
in
come up here and
America.
ask me where my goddamn mask was. How I'm gonna eat without my damn mask?
You know what I love about that is usually gay black men love fat white chicks.
That didn't work out well for her.
Yeah, they sure don't.
No.
That's what I love is you're going to go up to the sassiest looking man there who,
Yes.
who looks like the woman
Yeah.
from
Right.
SNL.
While you're wearing a couch throw.
Yeah, I just think you're going to... I hate Karens like
Well,
that.
she had her mask below her nose, too, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
Why did she have one surgical
She had one
glove?
glove
Was she
on.
off her shift at Subway?
Yeah,
That was her bandit pulling arm hand.
that's true. That was her slot hand.
And by the way, when people try and say like, "Oh, it's racist to do voices or something," how did I know when I first watched that clip? Within 2 seconds, the man filming is a gay black man.
I don't know, his voice?
Yeah, you
I have
think
no
so?
idea. I try not to make those assumptions.
This farmer's market chalk demon.
Farmers Market, USDA, motherfucker.
I get the chalk demon thing. I just didn't get the farmer's market thing.
Wait, because white people go to farmers markets.
Yeah.
Black
You're
people...
saying black people can't farm?
I'm
They
not
go
saying-
to
no,
urban
yeah,
farmers
let's
markets.
Let's do that again.
I go to urban farmers market. Yeah, let's go. Yes.
Yeah, let's dig that grave one more time, Gerald.
Which is, by the way, where they often urban farm. Shallow grave.
Yeah.
All right, I got some turnips and some eggplants, and that was my brother. He's right here. I forgot that we put him here in this plot.
Finding Aretha.
No,
I
it's
got a
pronounced
ring.
urethra, and I got Flomax to fix that shit.
Oh.
Now,
UTI.
it is frothy.
Suck it to me.
So before we move on to, again, just because some people think that I was lying and I was not, while giving a speech on voting rights in Atlanta. And by voting rights, I mean no identification necessary. Let's be very clear. Otherwise, it could, because if you believe in ID, you're a Klansman. Biden, his dementia is showing this week in Biden.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Last week, President Harris and I stood in the United States Capitol. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
I mean, I don't even have a note for this.
Was he ever smart? It's not even a case of
I'm
dementia
not-
anymore.
No,
It's
yeah.
just he's an idiot.
No, he's just, well, they're transitioning. Like, they've been telling me to start easing it in there. President Harris.
Yeah.
Like, who told you? She did.
Yeah, he's the only person with a 40-year history of dementia.
And he's the only person in an office of power she hasn't slept with.
Well,
Well, that's because he physically can't.
Yeah,
she's just waiting him out.
Right, yeah.
That guy ate 8 blue pills, and he's like, I don't know.
I've been taking the Cialis like M&Ms.
I think Hunter's taking them, replacing them with Tic Tacs again.
Well, he's putting them in the Swiss cheese holes and smoking them. It's faster blood plasma level. The cat couldn't scratch it. So,
I need to smell a child.
yes.
There it is.
I
Come
need
on.
my essence.
Fill up.
It's like smelling salts. That's what happens every time he soils himself. They just take a 12-year-old boy and wave him. He's like Yogi Bear with a pie on the windowsill. Oh, hey, boo-boo, I think there's a 12-year-old boy.
Just floating through the air.
Park
Following his
ranger.
nose.
Pedophiles!
Toucan Sam.
Yeah. Just follow your pedophile nose.
Minor attracted person, Stephen.
Children are great. So, let me get to the Fauci thing here. And I know that this is something it's hard to keep track of for a lot of people. This is what I do for a living. And sometimes I go, okay, didn't we already prove that this guy knew about gain of function? Let me give you a brief recap because it happened yesterday while we were live on air.
Yeah.
With Rand Paul. And your point was the best yesterday, by the way, about Rand Paul and Fauci accusing Rand Paul of trying to kill him. You're like,
Iowa.
yeah, from Iowa.
From Iowa.
Like,
There was a guy 2,000 miles away
2,000 miles away.
who was trying to kill
He
me.
beat AOC's distance.
He did.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. A transgender swimmer could get there faster.
Yeah.
On land.
He had a gun and was 9 states away.
Yeah,
That sounds
exactly.
horrific.
I'm like, oh, yeah, really? Tell me more.
And there was also a guy with a cap gun in Schenectady. I don't feel safe anywhere.
Oh, we had very loud whippets.
Yes. So Fauci told Congress that he never saw grant money, funding the gain of function research. Okay, you guys all remember this. The House
Yeah.
Republicans then released new emails. Now, these emails made it clear that, let me read the quote for you. By January 27th, 2020, Dr. Fauci knew that the NIAID had funded EcoHealth, the WIV, Wuhan Institute of Virology, was a subgrantee of EcoHealth, and EcoHealth was not in compliance with its grant reporting, in particular, that the national infection, they knew that they had gain of function potential, for novel bat coronaviruses. This is something that you already know. I just want to make sure so you understand what is new now. The emails also show that Fauci and Francis Collins colluded with other scientists to put down the lab leak theory.
Yeah.
So it's not that, there was funding of the research and he was warned about it. Now there's no plausible deniability because there's evidence, all references available at ladderofcredit.com, link in the description, that they were saying, how do we punt this? How do we get rid of this?
Yeah.
How do we bury this? And they did it even though there were some high-profile scientists in the same email chain who told them that it was possible. That this came from a lab.
They said 70-30 to 60-40 on it. So it wasn't like a remote possibility that they were just like, hey, it's 90% that it didn't. I got like 10% maybe that it did.
Right.
It was like, hey, I'm almost 50-50 that this thing may have come from this lab. And yet, that's what Rand Paul pointed out. He's like, then you put something out in Wired magazine to run cover.
Right.
And you came out and said no. And people got kicked off of YouTube for saying this.
We got kicked off of YouTube for saying this.
Yep.
We got kicked off of YouTube for saying this. Not people. This guy.
Exactly. Well, I think mostly it was my fault.
Yes, it was your fault.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought that of all the hard strikes, two of them were from Gerald?
Yeah.
It's funny. People on the road are always like, you got to stop getting him kicked off. I'm like, literally never once.
It's never happened.
ever was me.
It's never happened.
It's just been the cold, hard facts that have gotten us thrown off of the
It's
air.
been Gerald. You know what it is? You know how we know we're going to get kicked off YouTube? Is anytime Gerald says, like, hey.
Something accurate?
Yeah, he says, hey, can you pull up the CDC stats for a second? Well, and we're gone. What happened?
Yeah, that's weird.
Hey, do you know that it's like 60-40 from this doctor saying that it was from... Oh, shoot. There
And
we
by
go
the way,
again.
if he's saying 60-40 or 70-30, it's a really dangerous position to take.
Yeah.
You know that it's more like, it's probably 70-30 the other way.
Oh, yeah, because he's pushing it up.
Yeah, if a doctor's saying, like, I don't know, I think there's a 30 or 40% chance that maybe it came from a lab, what that doctor is saying is, it came from a lab.
That's why they
I don't wanna
scribble
say
their
it.
names, so they're like, that's not my signature on your brother that OD'd on Vicodin.
Right.
That's
They're
pretty
a
good cover. I
shady
never-
bunch.
For the
never thought
last
about that.
time, it was methadone. I used to be a Vicodin addict, and now I'm a methadone addict.
Okay, I do both.
Yeah, those are
Well,
different.
it improves my high. So, high-profile scientists in the same email chain said, look, there's a strong possibility that this came from a lab. And then you have Fauci and Francis Collins saying, how do we get rid of this? How do we make sure that this doesn't get out? You're about to say something, Tony?
Yeah, Mission Control was saying that one of the scientists that was saying that is the doctor that discovered the SARS receptor.
Ah.
So it's not just nobody.
Some random doctor. No.
Yeah. By the way, what a miserable existence that is. They put that on his headstone. It's like, discovered the SARS receptor. Yeah, for all the horrible diseases that everybody hates. I'm the reason that people were locked down in Toronto.
What happened to him? Did a Clinton kill him?
Well, not yet.
Oh.
I mean, as far as we know, there could be a body double.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know.
He's breaking his hyoid in a cell somewhere. Now, remember, back in May, so these emails were going back and forth. This is what is different. Fauci knew about it. These doctors, who were reputable doctors, the science, as you would refer to them. And also, let's keep one thing in perspective. When people say the science, can we all agree when people say common ground? Okay? I want you to comment here below, because I know that there are a lot of people who are liberal. You watching right now who watch this show, our number one city where people watch is Los Angeles, like San Francisco.
Yes.
Yeah, because we have a lot of people who watch right now. You're conservative living in blue states. Fox News caters to flyover country. If I hear Rascal Flatts' "Life is a Highway" one more time, I'm going to blow my brains out.
Don't do it.
But a lot of you, I understand, you sort of are misfits. And so a lot of you who are watching right now, I'm speaking to you, the individual, you're probably a conservative who lives in a relatively blue area or in a blue area of work. So this is something that I would hope everyone can agree with. If we're talking about common ground, the science. Don't you want as many reputable scientists as possible? Do you want it to be a dictatorship? Does the science mean Fauci? Because in this case, we have many doctors. Now we know he's already discounted the other doctors from Stanford, from Harvard, from Oxford. You know, some doctors who've actually seen patients. Yeah. We know that they've tried to revoke the actual medical license of Dr. Peter McCullough, who was on this show, 9 months ago? We know that there were doctors who were banned who said early on that we're seeing people in our practice in Southern California, and this COVID-19 does not have the 2 to 4% mortality rate that was being touted at that point. We know that we've discounted those doctors, but what about in this case, the doctors who were on a closed email chain with Fauci, meaning he was fine with it. He was fine with it at that point. This input was to be included until he didn't like what they had to say. Shouldn't we all agree that science should include as many valuable scientific minds as possible? So let me just establish that. That's what's different. Now keep in mind, this is also why it matters. Back in May of 2020, which would have been, again, we're talking about these emails. You can see what happened. He already knew about this. This is when Fauci claimed pretty definitively that it was not, meaning it, the virus, man-made, and that it had not escaped in a lab. This is May of 2020 when these emails were going on, which we now know.
If you look at the evolution of the virus in bats and what's out there now, is very, very strongly leaning towards this could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated. The way the mutations
apparently
have
60% is very, very strongly.
A number of very qualified evolutionary biologists have said that everything about the stepwise evolution over time strongly indicates that it evolved in nature and then jumped species. Someone will say, well,
into
maybe
a bad
somebody
sandwich
took it from
that
the
I
wild,
carried out of a lab.
put it in the lab, and then it escaped from the lab. But that means it was in the wild to begin with. So that's why I don't get what they're talking about. If it isn't manipulated in the lab and you're trying to say it escaped from the lab, then how did it get in the lab?
It was in the wild. Well, you were in the wild too once. Except you've spent the last 90 years in a cubicle. What is he trying to say? Like, at some point there was something in nature, and then there was a lab, and we mutated it into an ungodly virus that didn't exist in nature. So I think that we can all agree this is from natural causes.
Why is he laughing?
I know.
He's like, oh boy, then it got out of the lab, and then everybody got sick.
Yeah. He's the kind of person who would look at Phil Hartman's body and be like, natural causes.
Yeah. Could have been the vid.
Yeah.
His wife was all hopped up on COVID.
Lorena Bobbitt, his penis went out of it was thrown from the Camry from natural causes.
Well, actually, Dr. Fauci, it would mean that it's been in the wild and it hasn't done anybody any harm until you brought it to a lab in the middle of a hugely populated place next to a wet market.
Right.
Maybe that's something we should look at, even if it wasn't manipulated.
Like Wolverine.
There's a point you could make on all of this.
Well,
Maybe
Wolverine was in the woods.
Yeah.
Then when we took him in and did he become superhuman when we forged adamantium to his exoskeleton? I'm not sure, but at one point he was existing without us.
I tickled him without gloves.
Yes.
Just don't piss off the virus and put it in a
Then I
stick.
had lunch.
And you made a good point too. What's about Fauci's wife?
Yeah, Fauci's wife. So it's really interesting. She's actually the chief of ethics for the NIH.
That's his wife?
Wow.
Yeah, so
Good gravy.
chief of ethics.
It looks like Will Ferrell playing Janet Reno.
Looks like one of the King Friday puppets from Mr. Rogers'
that's
Neighborhood.
not- oh,
You expect
Lord.
to see it on a finger. Like, is that ad hominem? Yep.
That is
As good as he looks for 80, thought he could have done better.
that is the grossest sex. Can you imagine? Ugh.
No, I can't. Stop it.
Oh boy!
That's why
This feeling occurs nowhere in nature.
that's why he's making viruses. He's just trying to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Have some soup. How did she beat it again? Oh,
He's squeezing his eye
Everybody-
into her coffee.
everybody's sick but yo.
Oh, jeez. Damn that natural immunity. That's the thing, when you tell your wife, you're going to take her to heaven and back. He's like, I'm going to take you to the lab. Ah! Oh! Yeah! Look at my baseball card.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. He has a mirror on the wall, but he plasters it with his fake baseball cards because that's...
Ugh.
It's like Fauci Cialis. Look at myself. Now I'm ready.
You think
Egotist.
I've killed kids before? Wait till you see what I leave on your chest.
Oh, come on now. Come on now. I'm sorry. Comment below if you don't want
Don't comment.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We are Christian
I
men
would
on this
apologize.
show, and this man is not. Hey, she's cute on CNN.
I actually did that in the most classy way I think I could.
Yes, you could. All right, so look, she was actually the chief of bioethics at the NIH.
Yeah.
Which sounds strange leaving my mouth.
Chief?
Yeah, chief of bioethics. Yeah.
Would bioethics, by chance, and maybe she didn't look. I'm not gonna get into conspiracy theories here, but those are the people who make sure that the things that you're doing are ethical, right?
Well, not if you grease them good.
Well, would a bioethicist by any other name be as incompetent?
I'm just curious.
So she gave a lecture titled Research Ethics and the NIH. This is not a joke. And the NIH was the one who approved gain-of-function grants to EcoHealth, but her husband put dogs' heads in cages to be eaten by flies. It's ethical.
Yeah, totally fine.
There's nothing to see here.
No, bye,
Stamped
Snoopy.
Oh, by the way, we're going to have Judge Fauci. We're going to have the science on the show tomorrow.
Really?
He will be on the show. I don't know why he keeps coming on.
I love it.
Well, I think it's because he's the science.
Yes, he is the science. You need to spread the science as far and wide.
Yeah.
I'm Johnny Apple Science.
Look at me.
It's like I've been condemned to roam the earth with a pumpkin head filled with science for the rest of my life, and it's the Fauci lantern or the science lantern.
Doesn't he seem like adult Butters?
Yes.
Kind of like if Professor Chaos became an adult, it would be.
I'm
Dr.
going
Fauci.
to do gain function in a lab. Oh boy, I'm going to get grounded.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I'm in a lot of trouble for this one.
I'm in a lot of trouble for this one. I have to go have sex with my wife. Oh, gross.
Hell, are you sure you're a girl?
That was like a blend of Butters and Ben Shapiro.
Yes. Well, I can see both.
No, the difference is Ben Shapiro's wife is absolutely stunning
Well, and very talented.
and very talented and a doctor.
Yeah.
Now,
And an actual doctor.
yes, an actual doctor. You know what? Ben Shapiro, guys, comment below. His wife has kept her life private, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
I would love to interview an actual practicing physician like Ben Shapiro's wife and see what she thinks about this. Someone who has stayed out of politics, because people don't we joke about it. She's very qualified, and she's very good looking. She's very smart. I remember the first time when I met Ben Shapiro, and he was just, he was my lawyer, and he was so incredibly off-putting that I then met his wife, and it was one of those things where I thought, well, okay, he has a plane.
He's got something.
Then I realized, he's charming.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Does he still practice law?
Not so much. I mean, I know he's capable of it.
Yeah,
of course. I mean, the
I was
guy's
just
capable
wondering
of
if he
anything.
does, yeah.
He's like, he'd give Kurt Russell the computer wore tennis shoes a run for his money. So
That's true.
Speaking of running for money, New York City, I don't know if you know this, is horrible. There's a New York City marathon. Does anyone get money for the marathon?
Yeah.
There's one person who gets money and like
There's a
45,000 losers.
Well, pretty much.
That's when people crap themselves at the end of it.
Yeah, and their
Joe
nipples are
Biden
bleeding.
craps himself watching it. Yeah, they're bloody tape nipples.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, that's good during COVID. Your
Yeah.
raw nipples.
raw bloody tape nipples.
Yeah, good for you. You practiced to get raw nipples.
Yeah, and you look like a famine victim. That's people like, I'm healthy. I'm a marathon runner. Like, really?
Yeah.
You look like the suntan addict lady before the eating disorder got the better of her. All right, so look, New York City.
Wear one glove to hold water and go, where's your mask?
Right, yes, exactly. Bother gay men. Day off at Subway. So the the Manhattan DA, this is the new DA there, Alvin Bragg. He's instituted a set of, you guys all know that New York sucks, right?
Yes.
Just to be clear.
Oh, yeah, I live there.
Yeah, you know that it's very violent, and you know there's this catch and release and the cash bail.
Yeah.
So you would think, okay, they're going to straighten up and fly right. They've learned from their mistakes. They saw a population decrease, right? Whereas places like Texas, red states are seeing an increase. There's a direct, and I know I've taken humanities 101-2 in college. Correlation doesn't equal causation. I think it does when you look at every single liberal shithole and they're shrinking.
Yeah.
And then every single red state is growing to a significant degree. And by the way, the liberal politicians like AOC are vacationing in red states along with the governor of Michigan. They lock down their states and they themselves go to red states. The same thing is happening with New York. Here's the thing. You would think they would be learning from it. But in New York, the new DA, Alvin Bragg, he's now instituted some new policies which will decriminalize. I know you're thinking like harsher penalties. No, it decriminalizes everything.
Manhattan's District Attorney Alvin Bragg says his office will no longer prosecute crimes like marijuana misdemeanors, prostitution, and fare evasion. Bragg thinks longer sentences do not deter crime or make society safer. And in low-level store robberies, lesser charges if a suspect, quote, displays a dangerous instrument but does not create a genuine risk of physical harm.
Why did you decide that your office would no longer prosecute the crimes that we listed there just a minute ago? And how will this bring more safety?
I'm lazy.
So I was elected to deliver safety and justice for all. You know, we made these plans clear, and Manhattanites responded resoundingly.
I was caught in river monsters.
So we've got work to do, and this plan is going to make us safer in and of itself.
I love hookers.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie
Do the kind
gobbledygook.
of work I've done throughout my career.
Yeah, work he should be proud of. Now, it should also be noted he's not entirely easy on crime because he has installed the new subway in New York, subway safety guardians. But look, they keep this. It's the broken ski mask theory.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I wanted to go back to, Tim the Toolman here. And by the way, show him some love. He's new here on the TriCaster with Quarterback out. Do we have that clip again when he mentions he mentions I think he was talking about weapons. What did they call them?
Dangerous instruments.
Can you play that again?
And in low-level store robberies, lesser charges if a suspect, quote, displays a dangerous instrument but does not create a genuine risk of physical harm.
Oh, okay. Is that all it is now? We're referring to it as dangerous instruments.
Well, I don't know if.
Oh my! What just happened?
Oh, I don't know if they're that dangerous.
Was that a? I said no more dangerous instruments in the studio. Do you think you're at genuine risk of harm?
I don't think it's genuine. Oh my God!
Yeah, that's more.
Yes, it's genuine.
Guys, let's put an end to this. Before we get to the woodwinds.
Oh,
listen.
Oh, I felt
no more.
Felt good.
You feel alive, Dave?
I think
dangerous instruments. Like if someone let a dangerous instrument. What was he doing? Well, he was playing his Sig Sauer like a piccolo. So I wasn't entirely sure. Yeah. He was playing his Smith. He was doing the oboe with the Smith and Wesson, and there was a cobra coming out of a basket. What does that mean? Dangerous instrument.
Playing Highway to the Danger Zone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he was.
Cash.
Yes, yeah, he was Bowie knifing Kenny Loggins.
So I have a question. A guy standing next to me with a hatchet threatening me isn't producing genuine threat of harm?
No.
Like, in what scenario is he just a friend?
Well, it depends. Is the hatchet accompanied by a triangle? Ding.
I like that he's like, look, we're going to ease up on goofy crimes like human trafficking and violence.
Yes.
That's why I'm hired.
And weapons.
Yeah.
Basically any crime that involves weapons. And this is something else. They said.
But if you don't have a mask on.
If you don't have a mask on, we're going to lock you away and throw away the key. Yeah. Can you believe this for a second? They just said their theory is longer sentences and punishments do not deter crime. Then why have any punishments? Why have any sentences? Isn't the whole point to sentencing, to putting someone in prison to deter crime. I am not of the school of thought where people are like, well, we focus too much on punishing and not enough on rehabilitation. There needs to be both.
Yeah.
But there does need to be some punishment. I mean, are you going to tell me that punishment doesn't deter crime at all? You're going to tell me that the fact that there are no punishments or consequences in New York City right now has nothing to do with the skyrocketing violent crime rate? Is anybody actually buying this? I could present you stats and I could present you resources and you could check the references at louderwithcrowder.com, and we do provide them every single day. But do I really need to convince you that Manhattan is now a more dangerous place because they aren't sentencing criminals for committing crimes?
Being locked up is a punishment. There's no doubt about it. But they also do need to focus, and I do agree with that, a little bit on rehabilitation because that should be part of the entire process.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think it works better than like, hey, let's just say no bail and let them all back out and say give it the old college try.
Right, yeah.
Or even it's better than in San Francisco where if it's not over $900 and something, then I mean, what are we talking about here?
Yeah. Well, I guess they assume that criminals can't do basic math. They're like, I was gonna steal $3,000 worth of equipment, but I guess I can't divide by 3. I'm gonna straighten up and fly right.
Come back 3 times.
Actually, if you've ever been to like a Walgreens, you really do have to put very little effort into stealing $900 worth of stuff. Have you seen those prices?
It's like supermarket sweep. You just make sure you get as much and then ding, you're done.
Yeah, bring a friend. That's $1,800 right there.
Not if you're jumping over the prescription counter.
Well, you can make yourself a fine killing.
Yes, you can. New York businessman. Now, let me be clear, too. This is not all that New York City has made legal for residents. You can also vote now, even if you're not a resident.
Oh.
So residents can commit crimes and non-residents can commit crimes.
Well, I'm glad they're still using that policy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because, okay, word play here. Used to be a crime to vote if you were not a resident.
Ah.
Right.
Well, so non-resident.
So that's just no longer a crime. You just vote. It's like, wait, hold on a second. I wasn't a resident and it was illegal for me to vote before, right?
Okay.
But you can now. Oh, so the crime just disappeared. Yeah, like all of them, like prostitution or dangerous instruments. It's a whole new soft on crime approach here. We hope you like it. Tell your friends about Manhattan. So 800,000 non-citizens will now be able to vote in New York City elections. 800,000 non-citizens.
Don't forget the Dreamers, by the way. And
4 more years.
The reason they included Dreamers is this hasn't passed.
Yeah.
The Dream Act didn't pass. They were saying potentially affected by the not passed Dreamers Act. I was like, okay, so this is just anybody.
I have a dream of vote by mail that I would present no identification.
They're just not counting crime anymore. It's still happening.
I have a dream of voting twice.
Well, is it a crime if it's no longer a crime?
Ah.
Looking this good.
Yeah, you know what? New York is a city of riddles.
I'm so glad I don't live there right now.
You are a mysterious puzzle that can't be solved, Manhattan, until someone says, like, oh, yeah, how about we just make it illegal to hurt people again? Well,
that's
I guess we could.
No.
That's absurd.
But
listen,
why would you?
You may have sex only for money and hurt each other.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the deal, guys.
Progress.
Yeah. And let's just keep the brass instruments out of the violence.
Or you can hurt someone you've paid to have sex with.
Right. Or you can hurt, citizens of the entire city by voting when you have no business being there in the first place. The point is, the choice is you, the non-residents.
20 junked out homeless guys just writing yes next to sex.
Right.
I voted.
Hey, by the way, before we move on from this, I don't know if you know this, but crowdershop.com, we have a lot. We have a lot available there because for a while there was a supply chain disruption. I don't know if you know the supply chain disruption.
Ah, really?
Not so much anymore. You can go to crowdershop.com. And hey, Dave, wait, I'm on you.
Wait, I'm on you.
We're each other.
Whoa!
So let's move on to the voting rights here. I'm Dave. Oh no, see, I'm Dave now.
No,
look, all that liquor over there, and I can't touch a drop because I'm an addict.
Oh,
I eat hard-boiled eggs.
Hey,
oh, whoa,
that's
Steve,
cholesterol problem. Yeah.
Sorry, what?
No,
I'm you.
I said,
I'm
Dave.
Steven.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm Steven.
Okay.
Now.
I work with children.
What'd he say?
No,
I am the Steven.
We'll.
So, Biden gave a speech. This is the thing. Does anyone actually believe? Does anybody actually believe
part of one?
that voting, that the act of voting requiring ID is racist? I don't know. Like, this is the only people who I see saying it are Democrat politicians and a few blue check marks. I don't see any black people saying it.
Racists are saying it.
Yes.
Seriously.
Well, yeah, but that's what I said.
Yeah.
So yesterday, during the voting rights speech,
it's not your right if you're not a citizen.
Yeah,
Let's
during the
just leave it at
steal
that.
the vote speech,
There you
okay?
go.
When people say,
Yeah.
like,
Better
look,
title.
I'm not saying that this wasn't in the past the most free and fair election in history,
Right.
And I'm not saying that going forward, allowing people without ID to vote will be anything other than the most free and fair and secure elections in history. I just want to be really clear, YouTube. Again, we're always on Rumble if that results in, a problem, which it could. So I want to be clear because this sort of stems from Georgia, right? Everyone's been going after Georgia for a while, but now you're talking about former Vice President Biden wanting to nationalize these leftist utopian policies in their minds for voting. And I'll explain to you exactly what they are. But first, let's go to the speech from former Vice President Biden, where he actually called opponents of his bill domestic enemies. And I think somewhere, well, just watch.
I will not yield. I will not flinch. I will defend the right to vote, our democracy against all enemies, foreign and, yes, domestic. Do you want to be on the side of Dr. King or George Wallace? Do you want to be on the side of John
comedian?
Lewis or Bull Connor? Do you want to be on the side of Abraham Lincoln or Jefferson Davis? This is the moment to decide.
I'm just really glad he didn't say airplane. So
I just like how everybody's like, who?
Right.
Was at his speech.
Hold on, Democrats, Dave.
I'm going to fight because I could be a regular Billy Conn.
Huh?
What? I'm a primo carnera,
No, I don't.
No, okay. So look, he's pushing the Freedom to Vote Act, and let me explain to you guys what this is. You can go to congress.gov. We have all of the references available. What are the major changes? First off, they want to federalize the electoral process, control all of it. Whereas states, and I understand the argument to it when you have states like Pennsylvania, this last election, where they basically created laws last minute that went against their own state's constitution, and then the court said, well, it's too late now. We screwed up. We trusted you. So they want to federalize basically the way of conducting elections, which of course flies in the face of checks and balances and why we have states to begin with. And what will it include? It mandates no excuse vote by mail in every state. So in other words, if a state says, you know what, we want you to have a reason to vote by mail because we've had problems with voting by mail, as many states have. There have been elections that have had to be changed. I'm not talking about the 2020 national election.
No, never would say that.
But before that, there were elections in New Jersey. There were elections in Texas. There were elections that had to be changed because there were errors in mail-in voting. And states said, you know what, people need to have a reason. Well, now the Biden bill that he's talking about, for black people, of course, is all states have to have no excuse voting by mail. Okay. It also forces states to allow people to vote without ID. They can cast a provisional ballot with just an affidavit.
And they're not going to lie. We trust
Why
them.
would a criminal lie?
No, they don't. There's penalties.
Yeah.
Well, no, hold on. There's not penalties anymore.
Hey, hold on a second. Wait a second. So it's an affidavit, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay, so we're taking their word for it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Because it could be, if they're committing a crime, there's a punishment. Right. Is there a punishment for, let's say, someone not being a legal resident? No. What's the punishment? They signed an affidavit, right? But if they're not a resident, do they get punished? Well, that's not a crime. I don't understand. You're not supposed to. It also makes automatic voter registration the national standard. Keep in mind, I was registered to vote in several states. Don't know what happened with one of my votes. We did a whole segment on that. It also requires same-day online registration. And it prevents states from blocking, this is something important too, it prevents states from blocking donations of food or water to voters in line. And this is how Democrats frame it. They say, oh, look, Republicans don't want people in line to vote to be able to have water. That's not true. They don't want people to be able to go and bribe you with food and water and sandwiches and iPads. That's the point, is you can't solicit anyone in a voting line. This bill would make it federally illegal for states to say, no foul play here at the voting lines.
Yeah. There's nothing that prevents, like you said, for the poll workers from putting water out or something like that. They just didn't want, put it this way, this will make Democrats happy. They didn't want somebody handing out MAGA hats in voting lines.
Right.
It's exactly what the states were making sure of. That's it.
If you hand me sandwiches and water and an iPad, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'll vote for you.
Dave's going to stand in line again to get a second iPad. Yeah.
Hold on a second. You want me to vote for Kamala Harris? Let me. Tuna on rye? All right.
No, you've done it.
That's my weak spot.
Oh, what's that? The new Tuscan Parmesan? Well, okay. Quiznos toasts it.
Can I play Minecraft on this?
Yeah.
All right.
Now, finally, here's something else too. The bill would. This is what's concerning. Again, it sounds good, just like this idea of pro-choice. It doesn't make any sense when you actually understand it. Common sense gun control. Well, it would ban pretty much every handgun that people here own when you look at what they're discussing. So here they say this bill would ban the dissemination of false information, is their word, used to deter eligible voters. And by the way, who's an eligible voter? Anyone, including people who live in Honduras. Now, who would determine false information? Keep that in mind. And this is the thing. When Fauci, who's unelected, has determined what is true, what is false information, and we now know that he was given information from other qualified scientists. We just discussed this, and he said, you know what? No, I am the science. I'm going to declare the lab leak theory false. And then who goes along with it? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. 99% of all information that's controlled. Here's the thing for a conspiracy, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. This is the litmus test for me with a conspiracy theory. How many people have to be involved for it to work? Area 51, there's a janitor somewhere who's going to talk. But in this case, if you federalize elections and they say, by the way, we get to determine what is considered misinformation. Oh, you know what was misinformation? Dave going to actual addresses that don't exist from which people voted.
Yeah. In the defense of that, though, it was only 100% of them.
Yes, it was only 100% of the suspected addresses that weren't real.
Honestly, like at number 6, I'm like, am I going to get murdered?
Right.
Like at first I'm like, maybe one of them. And then I was like, this is terrifying.
Yeah. It's absolutely petrifying. So this is one of those things where you go, well, yeah, there shouldn't be misinformation. I understand it. But how many things 6 months ago were considered misinformation that are now true?
Right.
Remember, misinformation was if you're vaccinated, you can't catch COVID and you can't transmit it. You were banned if you said that.
Hunter Biden's laptop, right? And
yeah, misinformation banned by Facebook, banned by Twitter.
Yeah.
The New York Post.
Well, it's not like Giuliani had it and was like, you can just look at this, and they were like, no, we didn't need that.
No.
Well, look at the stuff that they left up that they didn't consider misinformation. The Russian prostitute scandal, right? The whole Russian collusion scandal with all the documents that we saw. I was like, come on, guys. Don't give that control to anybody who's doing it right now.
That Donald Trump praised white supremacists. Right. That's not labeled misinformation when he said, I'm not saying neo-Nazis who should be condemned totally. If that's not clearly enough of a condemnation, then a condemnation clear enough does not exist. That's the issue, and that's why you need to stop apologizing to these people. This is what happens as they go, oh, misinformation. No, look, nothing that we are delivering here is misinformation. It is correct information, and it's correct information that some people don't like. Okay? You can catch the virus if you're vaccinated. We're allowed to say that now. We weren't allowed to say that 6 months ago.
Right.
And Omicron variant is definitely less lethal than Delta, as we know now. We've had the highest caseload, and we haven't had the same kind of proportional increase in death rates. We've had an increase in deaths, but not compared to the Delta variant.
I think people should be excited about that.
People should be excited about it.
It means that herd immunity is working.
Oh, that was also misinformation, herd immunity, a long time ago.
No, that doesn't exist. We don't.
No, your own immune system is certainly not something.
And we've never promoted that because I know for sure because I went to the website where they did have it, but then they deleted it, so I know that it never existed.
No, exactly. They also, by the way, it's misinformation to say that they changed the definition of immunization.
Well, they would never do that.
They would never do that. It's not like we have Time Machine where we showed you them changing the definition of immunization. No. And by the way, they had to go back on that episode where Ralphie was sick and Magic School Bus.
Yes.
Gone. Ghosted. Misinformation.
Completely.
Can't do that.
Really?
Yeah. I knew I should have stayed home today. So this bill sucks, and I don't like it. You guys can comment as to why you dislike it most, but of course, this is why Biden. And it's not even popular, by the way. Voter ID is popular with black people. Voter ID is popular with Latin Americans. What do we say? Hispanic, Latin Americans, they prefer
Latinx. They love Latinx.
Stop it,
it's their
Dave.
favorite. Everyone loves that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the way you win the hearts of macho Hispanic men.
Yes, is force a term on them.
Yes.
You will be called this.
Yes.
Oh, really? We will. Huh.
My name is Keith. Your name is Latinx.
Your name is Latinx. All right. So Kamala and Biden, since this is unpopular and it's wrong and it's racist and it's all of these things, what do they want to do? What do they want to do?
Something smart?
No.
Oh.
In order to ram it through, ramming speed. Let's get rid of the filibuster.
Oh.
The Constitution of the United States gives the Congress the power to pass legislation, and nowhere does the Constitution give a minority the right to unilaterally block legislation.
Let the majority prevail. And if that bare minimum is blocked, we have no option but to change the Senate rules, including getting rid of the filibuster for this.
Yeah. He thought he could get rid of the filibuster by Metamucil.
I like how half the people behind him are like, why are you clapping?
Right, yeah. Exactly. No, it's not clapping. Those are my balls. It's like the thing on the desk that never stops when it's...
I get up in the morning and they just swing-a-ling-a-ding-a-ling.
Maybe if your proposals were more popular.
Here's the thing. They want to get rid of the filibuster because a filibuster is a failsafe. When people bitch about gridlock, you should be on your knees thankful for gridlock.
Yeah.
The whole reason that we have these systems of checks and balances in place is so that it is not as easy to fundamentally transform the country. When I say this to people, sometimes I get surprised. When I say, actually, no, the United States is the longest standing constitutional democracy, whatever you want to say, constitutional republic.
Yeah.
Basically free country with the current system of government that exists in the world. They go, what? Democracy? What about France? What about Joan of Arc? I go, yeah. Do you have any idea how they fundamentally transformed their system? It's not the same system of government because it hasn't worked. Because they didn't create a system of government that says, all right, we need limitations on the powers that be. What did he just say? He just said majority. No, that's why we're not a democracy. Guess what? Just voting by majority, that's mob rule. That's mob rule. That's not what this country is. If you like mob rule, go over to Australia where, well, I don't even think there was a vote, but you can put people in concentration camps, trailer parks as they quarantine for 14 days.
Kamala is frequently on her knees.
Well, listen, I don't necessarily know that that's the case, except I do.
Well, the last time I checked, a 50-50 split in the Senate doesn't make either party technically in the minority.
No,
he's
that's
saying that 50 senators disagree out of 100.
Well, he's going by Fauci math.
She is used to being split in half.
That is not math.
That is not math.
No, it is not. He is not the math. He is the science, not the math.
Here's the thing, too. By the way, the longest filibusters in history ever. Two, okay? Strom Thurmond, before we became an anti-racist Republican, back when he was a Democrat, and Robert Byrd, and they were both Democrats, and they were both against the Civil Rights Act. Whoops. And if you look at the total time of filibuster spent, the Democrats have the corner on that. They filibustered more than Republicans historically. They just don't like it at this point when they want to ram through unpopular, unconstitutional voting bills. This is the problem. They want the filibuster when it suits them, and historically it's overwhelmingly suited them. Now they say, you know what? We're not able to transform not only the will of our party, but we need to ram through something that is actually directly goes against the will of the people. That's also what's interesting. When Joe Biden says the majority, okay? Now, it wouldn't be right for the majority of American citizens to simply vote to take away somebody else's right. Let's say you have a majority of Americans who vote to take away your right to speak. Mm-hmm. Well, you can't do that. That's why we have the Constitution. You're not allowed to do that. The rights of the majority do not trample the rights of the minority. That's why we have a constitutional republic. However, former Vice President Joe Biden, when he says the majority, here's what's scary. He's not even talking about your will. He's talking about the majority of elite politicians and unelected bureaucrats. When he says there shouldn't be the right of the minority to stop the majority of Americans want some kind of voter ID. The majority of Americans think it's already required. You're saying the Republicans shouldn't have the right to block the majority of Democrats, which, by the way, also goes against both the majority opinion in the United States and, of course, infringes upon the right of both the majority and minority. When we're talking about the American public, so let's be really clear here.
Yeah.
When he uses the term majority, he's talking about the Democrat Party, and it's a 50-50 split.
Right. You know who else agrees with you that the filibuster should stay in place? Former Vice President Joe Biden, current leader Chuck Schumer, I think, actually did a video on it in 2017 saying that you cannot get rid of the filibuster back when he was using it for his own purposes. And also Nancy Pelosi has spoken on it. So there's some really high-profile people out there that are on our side. Thank God.
People.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, now they're not because they just want power, but before they were.
You know, I felt like I was on a roll, and now you just made me anti-filibuster.
Well,
doesn't Nancy Pelosi look like she should have a trach hole under that scarf? And
she does.
Weird she doesn't.
Oh, she does not.
Oh, she doesn't?
No, she doesn't.
I just feel like she'd be in one of those commercials where she's like, this is my life now.
I used to eat $25 ice cream in a $40,000 freezer. Don't do it. You can end up like
I still buy it. It's my freezer of dreams.
So yesterday, CNN, too, they discussed voting rights groups' boycott of Biden's speech, which I know you're saying, well, hold on a second, why would they? Of course, CNN is going to CNN and make it a, take a guess.
Racist?
Racial issue! With a 50-50 shot, either racial issue or homosexual issue. This time it's...
Either way.
Yeah, well, the optics of this right now look terrible because you mentioned Stacey Abrams. Here we have the country's most famous and arguably one of the most effective voting rights activists who is skipping a speech by the president on voting rights in her home state.
Historically, we've faced this before as a democracy in the 19th century. During Reconstruction, the parties were realigned in that historical context. So the Republican Party was the party of civil rights. The Democratic Party was the party of the racial status quo. And what we did in that context is we really faltered. We allowed voter suppression to be the law of the land.
Now, it's really easy to take that gay black man at his word. Here's the thing. Wait a second. It was Democrats overwhelmingly who voted the Civil Rights Act?
Yeah,
of 60.
yeah.
No, that was also still Republicans. Wait, where's the party switch? Anytime here's the thing, it's not that when you say now Republicans, for example, oppose affirmative action or racial quotas, it's not that the Republicans, who were the party of freeing the slaves, the Republicans, who were the party of the Civil Rights Act, it's not that the Republicans became racist, it's that your policies, like racial quotas or assuming that black people can't procure ID, are racist. Republicans have remained non-racist. You're still the racist, despite your lisp.
Yeah. Well, and you're like I hate to say it, like you're the master of the plantation racist. You're like, they can't do it without me racist.
Yes, you're the mint julep on the porch racist.
It's low expectations that these people need me, otherwise they cannot possibly survive in this world.
Yes,
racist.
That's exactly what it's like. It's like a plantation owner in his seersucker suit drinking a mint julep, cracking the whip on his slaves, going, "No, I won't have any racism around here. I won't hear it, see?
It's your candy."
Yeah.
Fanning himself.
Yes. Well, he'd probably have some.
What a lovely day.
Now, here's something else I was asking
Watch
yesterday.
the slaves.
You remember yesterday when I was asking for this ad? From CNN?
Yes.
Well, we found it. So I had heard it. CNN was on in the background.
Yeah.
And I said, surely this can't be. Now, let me set the stage here. Because I was listening to it, and at first I thought, oh, no, wait. They're going to try and compare this to January 6th, because they compare a lot of, like, big days in history as far as war.
Yeah.
But no, they took a left turn.
Okay.
And went to voter ID being racist. This is not a parody commercial to try and convince you to support the federalization of elections requiring no voter ID that was running on CNN here.
On a faraway beach, the generation called our greatest saved the world from tyranny. In an office we know as Oval, a new generation president faced down an imminent threat of nuclear war.
Okay.
On a bridge in Selma, Alabama, the preacher of his time marched us straight to passing voting rights for every American.
All right.
At a gate in West Berlin, a late generation American president demanded an enemy superpower tear down a wall and liberate a continent. American generations answering the call of their time with American ideals.
Good.
Freedom, liberty, justice. For today's generation of leaders, the call has come again to protect our freedom to vote, to fortify our democracy by passing the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Because America...
We are not going back. We are going forward.
Yeah, what are you, a shark? I can't go back!
What did I just see?
You just saw a pile of festering shit.
Well, how about we add what these people did for the country? Assassinated, almost assassinated.
Yes, exactly. That's true. And by the way, that was because when I first heard it, I heard it just in the next room. I thought it was MLK Jr. No, it was that was
John
Lewis. Yeah. Keep in mind now. Look, can you guys see this this picture here of Andrew Breitbart? I was a club comic before Andrew Breitbart gave me a shot to write on his website, Big Hollywood. There was a time when it was I believe it was Clyburn and Lewis who walked up the congressional steps, and this is when they were trying to paint the Tea Party as racist for opposing Barack Obama, and they claimed that people spat on them and called them the N-word. John Lewis said this, Clyburn said this, and this is sort of at the dawn of smartphones, and you can watch the footage where everyone has their camera phones on.
Yeah.
And you can watch footage from every single point of their march up those steps, and there's never an N-word uttered. Andrew Breitbart offered $100,000 to the United Negroes College Fund for anyone who could produce any evidence. None whatsoever. So the guy who lied about being called the N-word because people were opposing record spending, this is what the Tea Party was. This is the guy who is now saying, by the way, unless you support this voting rights bill, it's racist. We will not go back. We are going forward.
Yeah,
fine, okay.
Every bit of this is framed as racist voter suppression, right? That's the only way that they can get this through. You don't.
It's my favorite kind of suppression.
Right, exactly. You don't want every single possible person, like they're going to do in New York, to be able to vote. You want to make sure you balance making sure people can vote, right? That's primary. Right underneath it is it has to be secure. Yeah. That's all these states are really doing. Now, you may disagree with some policies in some states because you don't like how they're doing it or they're moving days and hours around, but they're trying to secure the elections. If you cannot audit an election and the public does not believe the election is secure, you might as well not have elections.
This is one of these areas, too, where people don't understand. I always say there really is no conservative wing in other countries, like in European countries and Canada. That being said, these countries that are far more liberal, it's absurd to them that you would be able to vote by mail without any form of ID.
Yeah.
It's a non-option.
It's something that Vladimir Putin would propose.
Right.
Because he's just filling the ballots out anyway, and everybody knows it.
Right, yeah. Look, we found 75 million more votes for me.
Everybody writes like me.
That's it. I had no idea we had so many Vladimir Does here in Russia, and only people who vote against me were Pussy Riot, but they were late. So, hey, that's me. Now,
you've been roasted.
Yes. To be fair, that ad isn't totally wrong. Now, what do I mean by this? By the way, buckle up.
I don't have a seatbelt.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's just your chair.
Oh.
So the country did have racist problems. I don't want to say this country is rooted in racism. That's not why this country was created. Racism was something that existed for a very long time.
In the world.
Right? In the world, and then we ended it pretty quickly in this country when you look at it historically. Put it this way. At the very least, much more quickly than the Native Americans, who never ended tribalism and the idea of racial inferiority the entire time they were here. So when people say, give it back to First Nations, well, which one? The one who raped that First Nation, or the one who raped that Second Nation, or the one who scalped this nation? They believed that certain tribes were inferior. Now, you see them as looking the same, but keep in mind the Algonquins and the Iroquois would obviously be far more different than a white American and a black American. So racism existed. We didn't create it. We ended it pretty damn quickly. But there are some roots of racism in this country, in the sense that there were some organizations. The KKK. I don't think anyone here would ever defend the KKK.
No.
But the KKK, that being said, is not what you think it was. Far be it from me to defend the KKK. I'm not defending the KKK.
Not at all.
But what I am saying...
This will never be taken out of context.
This will never be taken out of context.
Of course not.
Is people don't really know the history of how it started.
Oh.
Things sometimes get out of hand.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Sometimes things get out of hand. Can we all agree with that?
That happens.
Yeah. This branch is.
Yeah.
So
a hand, you get things out of.
But here's the truth. References are available at louderwithcrowder.com. You ever look at the KKK names? And by the way, like Robert Byrd, second longest filibuster ever. This guy was a very highly ranked Klansman. He had Klan Dental in a company car.
Aren't there like grand wizards and stuff?
There's an exalted Cyclops.
Yeah, he had
exalted Cyclops.
Robert Byrd had a 401k for whipping.
Did he?
So yes, Grand Wizard was these were actual rankings in the KKK.
Okay.
Grand Wizard, exalted Cyclops, Grand Giant, Grand Dragon, Grand Magi, Council of the Centaurs. Here's the thing. A lot of people don't know this. It got out of hand. But really the KKK, and this is the more you know, it was, the racist thing was a front for the fact that they were really, the KKK was a nerd Dungeons and Dragons group. Man. All right, now, y'all remember where we were when we left off.
We were about to cross the bog of bewilderment.
That's right. And when Greg here, Grand Exalted Cyclops got his foot stuck in the dwarf plasma.
Wasn't it dragon plasm?
No, you got that wrong. I'm the Grand Dragon.
Wait, I thought he was the Grand Dragon.
No, I'm the Grand Imperial Wizard.
Wait, hold up. We cannot have a Grand Dragon, a Grand Imperial Wizard, and a Grand Exalted Cyclops.
I'm the Grand Imperial Wizard. I called it.
Guys, it's just too many grands. It's redundant as shit.
Honey, did you use my can opener again?
No, I didn't touch the damn can opener, Josephine. Now, for the last time, we're busy.
Are you guys playing that stupid role-playing game again?
No, we're just,
planning our next attack on the Jews.
Yeah, they run the banks.
Yeah, you got a lot of nerve asking me that, Josephine. We're down here doing clanly things. Now, I can't plan our next lynching if you keep yapping.
All right, gee.
Okay, fine. So you're the Grand Dragon, you're the Grand Imperial Wizard, and you're the Grand Exalted Cyclops. And what am I?
You're the Nighthawk.
Son of a damn courier?
Well, you were the last to join. So.
Yeah, but it's my house.
You're the only one who has a basement. We all have soft soil.
And I painted the figurines.
You really think I don't know what you boys are doing down there?
Damn it, woman! We're busy down here, hating.
Yeah, they're ruining our neighborhoods.
And they're destroying our society.
Josephine, I'd be of sound mind to slap you in your smart mouth.
You left your name tags up here on the counter. I can read all your stupid names.
Name tags?
I got a new typewriter and I thought it would be fun to make name tags.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Damn it, wizard.
It was supposed to be a surprise. I must have left them on the table when I went to the bathroom and forgot.
Now you ruined the whole damn thing.
Stop using my fucking bathroom.
You know you're not a real hate group, right?
Yes, we are, woman. We are too real hate group.
We're fixing to go burn a cross on Lyle's lawn right now.
No. Then we'll have to do it.
It's not that hard. I got the plywood.
It's not about the plywood. I like Lyle.
I'll let him know first.
All right, okay. You get the plywood and kerosene. You call Lyle. And then we'll meet back here in about an hour to finish up.
Okay.
Josephine, I hope you're hungry because you're about to eat a mouthful of your words.
That cross burning hot as hell. Hey man, them stupid ass white kids, they playing Dungeons and Dragons again? A bunch of nerds. Dungeons and Dragons. Stupid.
How about the cross, Lyle? Our wives made us do it.
Wives made you do it. F off, Clayton.
We'll be back tomorrow to clean it.
Hey, tell you what, your wife's supposed to be stopping by. I got something to fix for her. Make sure she stop by.
I sure will.
Me and my brother gonna take care of her, all right?
Sorry again.
There goes the neighborhood.
So look, took a risk. Smash that like button. Make sure that we do not stand alone in our condemnation of the KKK.
That's real footage.
Totally condemn.
I condemn all the racism as well as the nerdery.
You just never know where things come from sometimes.
Just three or four effeminate men.
Yeah.
Playing
playing Magic the Gathering, and it got out of hand.
It went crazy.
Someone plays the Bloodlust card. You're like, that's a rare card. It's expensive. They don't want to trade. You're not playing for keeps. Look, this is what happened. The Black Panthers, it all started with Pogs.
I bet you we just lost 3 subscribers.
Yes, we just lost 3 subscribers. Like, I don't know about this. So look, I want to hear from you guys. We have more to get into in the Georgia voting. Let's do the Georgia bill more so, or I guess the problems with the Georgia voting. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Comment below if are you black?
Yes.
Are you brown?
Maybe.
Well, look, if you've answered yes to both of these, congratulations, you're Kamala Harris. But do you think that it's racist to have voter ID, or do you have voter ID? And if you want to see more, let us know. We're coming back in the new year. What do you want to see more of? You want to see more of these sketches with cameos? Do you want to see more Just Red Meat? Some people, they want this to just be like an AM radio show. But here's the thing. We're about to play Gay or Slay on the Mug Club. Smash that like button. If you're Rumble, you hit that button. It's okay. You don't need to hit it right now there, Tim. Okay, all right. Smash the Rumble button, just like every mayor smashes Kamala Harris. And YouTube right now. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Piss off.